What's up, nerds? Brandon from Nerdlocker.com, and we have your comic book reviews this week. I'm starting off with Batman Superman #2. Oh my God, we're crossing over with the Batman Superman from Earth 2, and there's some crazy stuff going on with boom tubes and mysterious villain who's kind of hanging in the dark until another giant hero shows up, and I think you kind of figure it out if Batman and Superman in the book. Who else is going to pop up? I won't tell you, but I'm sure you'll figure it out, and this is an awesome read. It's cool seeing the differences between Superman and Batman and the two different worlds, and seeing what one grew up with and what one didn't, or what one had and what one didn't, because we really don't know a lot about the Batman and Superman, or Wonder Woman even, from that world, because they were killed in the first issue that we read them in. This is a great read. I'm really excited for the series. I'm giving Batman Superman #2 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey guys, Cubby here with my comic reviews for this week. I got to read Star Wars Legacy Cinco, and man, I've said it before a million times. I'll probably say it, and the day I don't say this anymore, you should probably stop reading Star Wars Legacy. But I love this book because it's giving me what I want in an expanded universe. And by that, I mean I'm getting a lot of questions that I want to ask the writer that I normally didn't think I would have. I just thought I was going to read this book, it was going to be cool, it was going to be like what happened with Cade Skywalker, and I was like, oh man, you need to do this. And it's kind of the same thing, like Ania Solo, our main character, she kind of comes to a head, like a big conflict happens, the thing's going on, the story is progressing, and she's trying to get herself out of trouble, and she has to talk to an assassin droid, and the assassin droid's like, look, your family is pretty much legendary. You are a hero when you need to be. Your grandfather was pretty much a piece of crap, and you don't have to worry about that. You be the hero you need to be when you need to be it. And she totally lives up to that, and it's really awesome. You start getting other characters within the universe. It's starting to build that up a little more. That I can't wait to see. That's next issue though, so unfortunately I can only give you a rating on what I read, and that was awesome, so I'm gonna give you 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls because that book was great. It was really good. The artwork's really good, the story's really good, and it's just a good Star Wars book, and I'm glad to see that Dark Horse has a lot of those now. 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls, read it.
Hey guys, this is Haley, and I got to read Superior Spider-Man Team Up #1, and to be honest, I kind of don't understand why this book exists. I feel like I'm just reading what's in Superior Spider-Man. So far, I mean, we're right at the point where, you know, he's in trouble with the Avengers and they're dealing with it. It looks like this is almost kind of a prequel-ish issue into what the series is actually going to be about. I'm not going to tell you why I feel that way, but you get to about the last 2 pages and you go, oh, that's what the team up is. However, I feel like this could have just been a part of Superior Spider-Man. The book was entertaining, but I don't think it's worth being a book on its own. I'm going to give it 2.5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey there nerds, Jim here with my review of Aquaman #22. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Aquaman. I really love the Throne of Atlantis tie-in with Justice League. That storyline was amazing. And it's really cool to see how they developed after that, because Arthur didn't necessarily want to be king, he was kind of whatever, and then he had to be king because his brother Orm obviously attacked humanity. Yes, it was provoked, but he can't be king, so Arthur has to be king. Well, now we're getting into storylines, and it continues from obviously 21, where we have basically 3 stories going on with the Scavenger, who's invading Atlantis. We have the faction that's going to free Orm, the Atlanteans, who are on land now, and we have Arthur, who's gone to the Bermuda Triangle in Zabel to find Mera. And all this is going on, and it looks like that the throne is going to be back up for grabs, which is kind of interesting. This is leading directly into what I think that storyline is going to be. We have the first king of Atlantis, who had frozen Mera and all her people, and then is now starts off very friendly, which is weird to say for a confrontation, but it starts off friendly with Arthur, but then all hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose in Atlantis. I haven't seen exactly where the rebel Atlanteans have gone yet with the prison on Orm, so that hasn't broken out in all hell yet, but everything is going to hell. I can't wait to see where this is going to go. I'm going to give this 3.5 Nerd Skulls. Can't wait till #23.
Next up, I got New Avengers #8. There's a little subplot going on here, which I think is about to become a very, very big plot with Atlantis and Wakanda going to war and fighting each other. And it's interesting that Black Panther and Namor are both part of the, you know, I guess new Avengers now, the Illuminati as we knew them. And this, I feel like stuff's going to get crazy, but we're interrupted by what looks to lead into the next issue, an Infinity tie-in. Earth's getting invaded, and it looks like some people are aligning with other people, and there's a whole lot going on in this book. I feel like this is one you're going to have to like read the whole storyline to fully get what's going on in the story. Not that I was lost, I just feel like there's just too many doors opening at once to grasp like the full concept of everything happening in one issue. It's a really good book though. I'm giving it 4 to 5 Nerd Skulls. Pick it up.
Alright guys, so I also got to read Wolves of Summer #3. Now, we got sent these books by the actual dudes who write it and draw it, and they're self-publishing this book. And oh man, the first 2 issues were really good. I gave them really high reviews. I really, really love them. It's an awesome concept of these werewolves who were kids in Nazi Germany, who were pretty much the Hitler's youth, and like, but they were like a certain sect of it where they're badass and they're actually like militia. Like they actually went out and did stuff to further their cause. Anyways, it goes back between that and someone in like the 70s, and you're not really sure if it's this one kid you think it is, might be, you're not sure. It's kind of explaining it, it's getting to that point, but this issue was really awesome because it's the kids getting ready for their like big thing that they do, where it's just a lot of internal conflict and it's handled really well. These little kids get up and beat the crap out of another one, and they like, their shadows are werewolves, and it's really awesome and like dark and like, oh what? But it gets the point across, and it does this really, really well, especially in black and white, which sometimes I think is a little harder to kind of get a full story across. I mean, you're not using color. It's a little harder to get people pulled into it. So the fact that you have this really cool dynamic page of like action and emotion and like hurt, like you can get that through that page. And then on the other side, the old man, he's doing some really crazy stuff. You don't know what's going on, but he breaks down and it's all emotional, and it's like, oh, what? So I'm excited to read the next issue called Bullets. Cannot wait for it. I'm going to give this one 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Another great job, guys, and I want to read more.
I got to read My Little Pony #9 this week. This week, we get to actually read about Big Mac. He gets his own issue, which is really cool because I know a lot of people are big fans of him. I personally love him. It's really great because we get to hear his voice. He doesn't talk, but we hear his inner monologue, which is really interesting. I like that they took advantage of the comic book in that way, and that we get to see Mac in a different light. The thing I didn't really like about it is that it was a very repetitive issue. I kind of started getting, after, I don't know, 7 pages in, I started going, what's the story, what's happening? Because it's just, he keeps getting run into people. He's trying to get somewhere, and he keeps getting running into people, and they keep stopping him, and it gets really old. And it's going to be a 2-parter. It's a to be continued issue. I don't understand why. They started off really well. I was excited that it was Mac, but it just doesn't carry enough, so I'm going to give this book 2.5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got Justice League Dark #22, part 3 of 6 of the Trinity War. We see more of the fallout with the Question talking to Superman, telling him, you didn't kill Dr. Light, somebody set you up. And now there's the team of Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman, all 3 leading 3 separate charges on different fronts. Batman and Wonder Woman are at a total disagreement, and it seems like all 3 teams are now combined into 3 different teams, and they all have a purpose they're going after. Being that there's 3 more parts left in this book, I'm interested to see what happens. I've kind of been told, or I guess DC has announced what happens. This is leading into the Forever Evil in a couple months. But this is still a very fun read. I can't wait to see how everything plays out and how we get built up to this Forever Evil. But I'm giving this book 4 to 5 Nerd Skulls.
Alright guys, so I got to read Marvel's Hunger #1. It's going to be a big Galactus event. Him moving from, if you read Age of Ultron, sorry, I should finish it with that. If you finished Age of Ultron, you know it was coming. It was the splintering of the worlds, the flashpoint, if you will. I'm going to say it. The flashpoint that happened with Hank Pym, it kind of showed that a bunch of stuff is kind of all jacked up all over the universes. Ultimate, Marvel, all the other random ones they have all over the place. They've kind of established that they have a new one all over. We just need to find out what's going on. Well, within that aftermath, Galactus ends up in the Ultimate Universe, and this is the very beginning of that actually happening. So like the preview, it shows him already at Earth. This is before that even happens. Holy crap, what the hell happened? And it's like, oh my God. I didn't think it was actually gonna be that cool, but it starts off with Rick Jones being like this, essentially he's the savior of this entire universe. He's the guy that is gonna be in charge of making sure everything's cool. He's been put into this position by the Watchers. This has happened a while ago in the Ultimate Universe, and he's coming back and kind of just being a kid, and he's trying to do his own thing. He misses the stuff that he loves and yada yada yada, all that stuff, but he's getting pulled by his responsibility to go see this event happen, and it's essentially the Centauri, which is the Skrull, and the Kree in the Ultimate Universe fighting each other, and the Kree's like, whoa bro, stop this. And then all hell breaks loose, and it's nuts, and the Centauris are dicks like they are in Avengers, and Galactus is a badass, and something happens that's extremely awesome between him and the Ultimate version Galactus, which I hated forever, because it was so a fog thing. It's a dude, it's supposed to be a guy, and something happens, it's awesome. I cannot wait to see what happens. I was actually really dreading this whole crossover event, and now I'm really excited. So thank you, Joshua Hale. I think a lot of you, we love you at Nerdlocker. This book was really great. 3.5 Nerd Skulls. Actually, no, scratch that. The art was amazing, actually. It was almost like Coipel-esque, a little dumbed down, but it was still on point with the facial features and the space battles. 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Yes, 4 out of 5.
All right, I got to read All-Star Western featuring Jonah Hex, number 22. I kind of thought this storyline going on right now with Jonah Hex coming into modern DCU was going to be lame. Kind of thought this would be the reason I stopped reading the book. But I'm surprisingly into it. We see Jonah Hex in Arkham talking to Jeremiah Arkham, saying that I knew your great-great-granddaddy. I don't know, that's how I assume he talks. But it's actually pretty cool. Batman gets involved because if you've been reading this book, you see that back in Jonah Hex's time, he's dealing with Alan Wayne and Wayne Casino at the time, and it was just really neat. I love the history of Gotham, and I love seeing all of this stuff that has been happening in this book have implications with him in modern day, and having Batman be involved. And you know, they're talking about time travel, which I feel like is something big because we still don't know where Booster Gold is, and I feel like that's going to play into the book, or play into the DCU more than just the book. But either way, I'm really enjoying this book. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you guys thought.
All right, guys, so I got to read Uncanny Avengers number 10 this week. I'm pretty much reading the whole thing. It's awesome. It's really good. I highly recommend this book to everyone, especially if you love X-Men and Avengers. This is one of those books that out of Avengers versus X-Men that came out of that I'm really excited is still going and is still exciting. Thank you, Rick Remender. But mainly, basically, this book is kind of, it's not really gearing towards Infinity, which is the next big thing. It's doing its own thing, which is really awesome. It kind of touched the Age of Ultron, which that issue was really good. But right now, everything's building up, and we finally meet the new Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And if you read the last issue, you saw the cover for the next. Banshee, Grim Reaper, who just recently died, Daken, who also just recently died, and the Sentry, I think it's, no, I didn't say the Sentry, the Sentry, like what? The Sentry, how is he back? All these people just died and they're back and like pissed at everything. They're all brought back for a reason. They're all here for some particular person who is going to be a pain in their ass. But it's the Marvel Universe, and it's the Avengers and the X-Men, and it's Wolverine and Thor. They're gonna come back and they're gonna beat them up, and I can't wait to see that. But if they do lose, that really it's gonna be even more cool. So anyways, it's building up to some incredible stuff. There's some awesome fights in this. Daniel Acuña's artwork is actually really awesome. I used to hate this guy with a passion, but it really blends well with this book. Like all the 2 different teams, they have such a rich backstory, and they're like so many interpretations of these characters that this is just like a nice, solid, almost John Cassidy, almost this person. It brings in a lot of influences from a lot of different artists. So you can read it and you can kind of just think about all these random little moments in Avengers history when they talk about them really vividly, because it looks like the same person. I don't know. I'm a little crazy when it comes to comic books, so take it with a grain of salt. Anyways, really good issue, really awesome stuff leading up to. I cannot wait to read it. So I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. It deserves every single one of them.